Hello students, I am Mrs. Rupali Samir Brahme from Deccan Education Society's Ferguson College, Pune. Students, we are going to learn the chapter number 6 today, that is e-commerce and e-governance. We are going to learn what is e-commerce and what is e-governance. What are various models of e-commerce and various concepts from e-commerce like EDI concept we are going to learn. We are also going to learn what are the models of e-commerce like B2B, B2C, C2C and so on. So we are going to learn what are the mobile and other kind of payments are available along with e-commerce. Students, we are also going to learn what are the security measures for all of this. Today's era is of mobile and the digital marketing as well as online shopping. So for that, what measures and security is available, that also we will see in this today's lecture. So let us begin with the presentation. Students, in this chapter number 6, that is e-commerce and e-governance, we will see first definition of e-commerce. So e-commerce is broadly defined as selling of goods or services using an electronic medium such as internet. So along with electronic medium internet, you will be using mobile, laptop or any kind of a device which is connected to the internet. So here e-commerce is also referred as paperless exchange of business information using EDI, email, electronic fund transfer, etc. So what is EDI is electronic data interchange. So this is the definition, can be asked in your examination for 2 marks. You need to remember the definition as it is for question number 7. So students, electronic commerce is nothing but the buying and selling over the internet. So let us compare it with our traditional commerce. Day-to-day life, we go in a shop and buy something. So that is nothing but a traditional way of shopping. And e-commerce means we are buying something via any of the website, that is e-commerce. So here traditional commerce focuses on the change of product and services through the personal interaction, means you are talking with a shopkeeper what you want and so on. So that is the manual kind of interaction. And here in case of internet commerce, or here you may say e-commerce, the trading activities are done online and you talk with the person via internet, and that can be considered as automatic because you are selecting the product by reading the description over there on the website. This is the first difference. Second difference is traditional commerce is limited for business hours because the shop will open at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, then only you can interact with the shopkeeper, and may close at say night 10 o'clock. So obviously it will be the business hours for the traditional commerce. And e-commerce is open for 24/7, means all the days of 7 days and 24 hours it's open for all. It is done mostly during the day for the traditional commerce, and you may write a difference that for e-commerce it can be done anytime during day or during night. So as far as the consumer interaction is concerned, traditional commerce provides face-to-face interaction. You are talking with the shopkeeper, face-to-face interaction is there. So here in case of e-commerce, there is just screen to face interaction. You are on your monitor screen. So here let us see the next differences. Traditional commerce is limited to particular geographical location, because where is the shop located, only that area may have visitors to that particular shop, and maybe the city will be the visitor. But here in case of the e-commerce, it's global and there is no any kind of physical or geographical area limitation for e-commerce. So obviously the e-commerce will get the more customers at its globe. It's a global, and traditional commerce is a local. So mode of payment in traditional commerce always include cash, check and credit cards, whereas e-commerce mode of payments are bank transfer, credit card, e-wallet and mobile payment, and other options are also there like the apps like Google Pay and other apps. Students, in case of traditional commerce, goods and delivery of services is instant with the traditional commerce, and In case of e-commerce, delivery of goods and services takes the time because you place the order, then after some time shipment will be done and you will get delivery after few days. In traditional commerce, the scope is local. Wherever your shop is located, only that area may have your scope, and here the scope is global. Anywhere, any in the world can have the access to your site, and the scope becomes global. So this is the difference of traditional commerce and the e-commerce. So let us see the advantages of e-commerce. So you are supposed to remember advantages also for 2 marks question in question number 7. You are also supposed to remember the difference between traditional commerce and e-commerce for the descriptive kind of questions. You need to remember the points which I have highlighted for the advantages of e-commerce. First is global scope. Anywhere in the world, anyone can visit to your shop, which is online shop, and can buy from your website. So that is a global scope. Means there is no any barrier of a geography or barrier of a place for e-commerce. That is the advantage. One more advantage is electronic transaction. It's a paperless. There won't be any kind of a cash transaction directly. So here e-commerce enables the use of credit cards, debit cards, smart cards, electronic fund transfers via bank and website, and other modes of electronic payments. Cost saving is one more advantage of e-commerce. E-commerce applications provides users various options, and they can compare the product and buy a cheaper product whoever is providing. So this helps reducing the searching cost as well, because you need not have to go shop to shop to compare the prices and look the product. So here at any time shopping you can do. If the shop is closed, you won't able to shop in the traditional commerce, whereas in e-commerce you can shop 24/7. So this is advantage. No intermediaries are there in e-commerce, so this is also one of the advantage. Public services, e-commerce helps the government to deliver the public services such as healthcare, education, social services at reduced cost and in improved manner. So you are supposed to remember all these advantages for the examination. What are the disadvantages? The person who is not aware about mobile and the internet may not able to shop from the e-commerce. So setup cost also it's requires, means you need the mobile, you may need the computer to buy and the products, and you will need the internet connection for it. The setup for the hardware and software may cost, and training also may cost for the employees. So physical presence, the lack of physical touch can be a disadvantage for many types of services, like I can't touch the cloth, or I can't have a jewelry touch for the e-commerce. So in case of the security, the credit card theft, identity theft is the security threats for the e-commerce. Goods delivery is one more concern with the e-commerce, because the delivery may be late because of the some shipping delay or mix-ups problems in case of e-commerce. So let us see the types of e-commerce. So there are 4 major types of e-commerce: B2C, C2B, B2B and C2C. These are also called as models of e-commerce. So let us see what are the models of e-commerce one by one. So first is business to consumer model. You may say a customer or a consumer. So business sells its product directly to the customer in business to consumer type of e-commerce. A customer view the product which is shown on the website. Now customer choose the product, customer orders for the product, and customer pays, and directly from the business it will be given to the customer. So for example, you are buying from the Amazon or Flipkart is the example of business to consumer type of e-commerce. Consumer to business is the second type. In consumer to business, first was, just observe, first was business to consumer, second is consumer to business. In this, consumers have products or services of value that can be consumed by businesses. For example, over here, comparison of interest rate of personal loan or car loan is provided by various banks. Customer will compare it and customer will give the requirement. Depending on the customer's requirement and the specified budget, the customer will approach to the particular service and will have the service for it and will buy the service from the particular business. So this is consumer to business. A consumer or a customer is going to approach towards the business for his need. So a blog can be written by author. For example is over here. A blog can be written by author for business to improve the sales of the product, or eBay is the example of consumer to business kind of e-commerce. Business to business is next model or next type of e-commerce. In B2B model, the business sells its products to an intermediate buyer, and then the intermediate buyer will sell again the product to the final customer. For example, wholesalers will buy the products from the business and they will resell it to the customers, and this kind of model is called as business to business model. For example, Tata Communications or which is network provider is example given in your textbook. So here consumer to consumer is the next kind of the model of e-commerce. Consumer helps the other consumer to sell their assets. Auction sites like OLX or Quicker or Online Auction is the example. If you want to sell your car or motorcycle or any of the property, you want to sell the books, whatever you have, you can sell it by taking pic of it by using various kinds of sites. So to another customer you are selling it. So that is a C2C kind of a model of e-commerce. Let us see the e-commerce trade cycle. A trade cycle is a series of exchanges between a customer and supplier that takes place when a commercial exchange is executed. So this is the definition of what is trade cycle is. So in the trade cycle, what happens? The customer purchases the product from the supplier. So while purchasing, what happens? The pre-sale, execution, settlement and after sales. On the left hand side, you may observe these are the phases of the trade cycle. First, pre-sale happens, means what? The customer is going to search the product whichever he or she wants. After that, he is going to negotiate the product with the shopkeeper or with the site. So here after negotiation, customer is going to have the execution part of it, means what is the execution, what is settlement, what is after sale. Let us see one by one in next slides. So these are the phases of the trade cycle. First is pre-sale. In this pre-sales, there are two steps. As I said, just search and negotiate. You may observe over here the search and negotiate over here, and this search and negotiate is the part of pre-sale. Now students, over here you need to remember this for the examination, because the question may come in your examination that pre-sale contains what dash and dash. So you should remember that it contains search and negotiation. So before customer purchases the product, customer search the required product on the website and then he or she negotiates it. That is the pre-sale part of it. So prior buying, so obviously it is a pre-sale. After negotiation, if the customer agrees for the terms forwarded by the supplier, then comes part of the execution. In this phase, the customer orders for the product and gets delivery of the product. So customer sends the order of the particular product to the supplier and gets the delivery of the product. So you need to remember this also, order and delivery is the part of the execution. So students, do remember next is the third phase is the settlement. In the third phase you will find it contains invoice and payment. So you need these diagrams so that you will remember these keywords for the examination. All these keywords are very important for your online examination. So here settlement, in the settlement phase, the invoice means customer will receive a bill. Bill is nothing but your invoice. Customer receives the bill of the purchased product, and after the confirmation of received product, customer will pay for the, means payment comes in the picture, will pay for the product purchased. Now last phase is after sales. After sales contains warranty and maintenance service after that. So in warranty period, customer will get a maintenance service for free, and after sales services means customer will do complaints if required. If any problem is there with the product, then the customer will get the maintenance service from the supplier. So this is all about the trade cycle of the particular e-commerce. Let us see the modes of payments which are used in e-commerce. So you may observe the diagram in front of you. The four modes of payments I have specified over here. One is credit card, second is mobile payment, third is bank transfer, and fourth one is e-wallets. So first let us see the credit cards. So this is very easy way. You need to write on a credit card number on the side. There is a CVV number and the expiry date of the card. Students, do remember that you need not have to give the credit card number on the unauthorized sites. While giving the credit card or debit card number, you need to check whether the site is having HTTPS or not. That HTTPS stands for secured one. So you need to type always the site name, not to search on the Google to have the purchase. Always have the purchase on the trusted sites. So the credit card is one of the very useful method for payment of your products. So one more method is used generally day-to-day life, that is a mobile payments. For example, apps like Beam, UPI, Paytm, Google Pay and PayPal. These are the mobile payment options available for payment of your products. Bank transfers, all these are the mode of payments available along with the e-commerce. So bank transfers include when the money is sent from one bank account to another. Transferring money from one bank to another bank account is more safer than withdraw and pay like your traditional commerce, because every transaction will be authenticated by checking customers banking credential, that means bank ID and the other details. For example, NEFT and IMPS. NEFT stands for National Electronic Fund Transfer. So here, and this is IMPS, means this is immediate fund transfer it is. So here these are the two methods used in case of bank transfer. E-wallet is one more method for making the payment of your products. So e-wallet is a type of electronic card which is used for transactions made online through a computer or a smartphone. E-wallet is a type of prepaid account in which user has to store money, and for future you can use that money for online transactions. For example, here State Bank Buddy and Paytm wallets are the examples of e-wallet mode of payment. So students, all these are the mode of payments you need to remember for the examination. May be asked regarding NEFT, what is it is, and it may be what are the kind of mobile payment options and what are other options for mode of payment in e-commerce. So let us see the forms of e-commerce. There are two forms of e-commerce. One is m-commerce and another is a social commerce. So m-commerce means a mobile commerce. Students, this is a mobile era, and in mobile era many of the consumer or customers wants to buy the product easily using their mobile. So buying and selling of the goods and services through a wireless devices such as smartphone and tablet easy for the customer. Some of the applications like m-commerce are mobile banking, ticket booking, bill payment, online auctions and stock market trading. One more very important form of e-commerce is social commerce. Social commerce is a form of electronic commerce that involves social media. Social media, which are the social media? The popular social media. You might be using a Facebook, Instagram and Twitter like kind of a social medias. So this social media supports end users for interaction with customers. So this enables shoppers to give the advice to the trusted individuals. Find goods means you can post your products on and images by using all this kind of social media. So on social media, the customer is going to view your products and they are going to buy it from the social media. The success of social commerce campaign is measured by the degree of consumers interact with the company's marketing through retweet, likes and shares. This you might be aware about how many likes are there for the particular product. Depending on that product, how much popular it will be decided. So here these are the two forms which we have seen for the e-commerce. So let us go for the e-commerce technology, that is EDI. Students, we have other technologies also along with e-commerce like i-commerce means internet commerce also, but e-market and all that. So we are just going to learn EDI technique, that is a electronic data interchange technique. EDI is electronic interchange of business information using a standardized format. Students, the question may be asked what EDI stands for in your online examination. So you need to remember EDI stands for electronic data interchange. You need to remember. So a process which allows a company to send information to another company electronically rather than a paper is EDI. Business entities conducting business electronically are called as trading partners. Many business documents can be exchanged by using EDI, which is electronic data interchange. Two most common documents are purchase order and invoices. So purchase order and invoices are generated by using EDI, that is electronic data interchange. The computer to computer interchange, it is a computer to computer interchange of strictly formatted documents via telecommunication or physically transported on electronic storage media. So this is all about EDI. Let us go towards the topic e-governance. Students, e-governance signifies the implementation of information technology in the government processes and functions so as to cause simple, moral, and accountable and transparent governance. So this is the definition of about e-governance. So if the short note comes on e-governance, you need to write down this short note. You need to write down this sentence for it. So basic purpose of e-governance is to simplify the process for all, that means for the government, for the citizens and for the businesses at national or state or a local level. E-governance delivers a smart government. So which smart means as a simple, moral, accessible, responsible and transparent government. For that, the smart word is used. Students, what are the advantages of e-commerce? Reduced corruption, high transparency, increased convenience, direct participation of constituents, because citizen is directly going to interact using the websites. So reduction of overall cost, expanded reach of government, these are all the advantages of e-governance. You need to remember these points for again for 2 marks for the question number 7A or maybe B. So here for what are the advantages of e-governance. Let us see the types of e-governance. The e-government has 4 types. First is government to citizen, that is G2C. Students, do remember all 4 types for again short note question or maybe for multiple choice questions. The question may be asked what are the types of e-governance. The government citizen refers to the government services which enables citizens to give access to wide variety of public services. A citizen can have access to the services anytime and anywhere. Furthermore, many services like license renewal, paying a tax are essential in G2C. So the G2C focuses on geographical land barriers. So government to business is the second type of e-governance. The exchange of services between the government and business organization occurs. So G2B provides access to the relevant forms needed for the companies. The G2B also consists of many services exchanged between business sectors and governments. So this is purpose of the G2B is to have the access to the government easily by using some of the IT methods. So this aims that eliminating a paperwork, saving time, cost and establishing the transparency in the business environment while interacting with the government. Student, next third is the government to government type of e-governance. In the government to government, this refers the interaction between different government departments. This one government department is interacting with another government department, so that becomes G2G type of e-governance. It also interacts with other organization or agencies. G2G government agencies can share the same database using online communication. Government departments can work together by using the G2G kind of e-governance. G2G services can be a local level or that can be international level. So government to employee is the last type of e-governance. Government to employee is the internal part of G2G sector, means that is the department wise or maybe the state wise government inside whatever the employees are there. So that is the government for these, this is for government employees. Furthermore, G2E's aims is to bring the employees together and improve their knowledge sharing, and they will provide you the training, and they manage their database including applying for the leave, reviewing the salary payment, keeping their records, checking the balance of the holidays. All these is applicable for government employees, and G2E sector also provides the human resource training and development for government employees. G2 is also relationship between the employees, government institutions and their management. Effective example of the successful implementation of the e-governance projects are some of these are given in your textbook, that is the e-Mitra project from Rajasthan, e-Seva project from Andhra Pradesh, and CET, as you all know, which you will be appearing might be in Maharashtra government. Let us look at the security measures because money matters, students. So here e-commerce security refers to the principles which guides the safe electronic transactions. So while doing your credit card, debit card or online payment or mobile payment, your transaction should be secured, which is electronically. So allowing buying and selling the goods via electronic transactions must have the security. So what are the security methods which are provided by the companies or by the systems? So here first method is encryption method. Encryption is widely used on the internet for security, which protects user information being sent between the browser and server. So students, when browser sends the information, that will be encrypted, and that whatever the browser sends, that is in the plain text format. So what browser does, it encrypts whatever information you have, and that becomes then ciphertext. So what is ciphertext is, which is unreadable format. Means this, so let us take this word I can read, personal, but if I write this word in some coding format, you may not able to write. If I write some jumbling words over there, and instead of some words I say change some letters, so you may not read what it is. So such kind of encoding is done in case of ciphertext. So here ciphertext is decrypted to get the plain text. So this includes passwords for encryption, payment information, and it may be the other personal information will be encrypted to get the ciphertext, and the ciphertext will be decrypted to get the plain text. Students, do remember this diagram for your examination because question may be asked. The plain text is dash to get the ciphertext. So plain text is encrypted or encoded to get the ciphertext, and ciphertext is decrypted to get the plain text. Student, this ciphertext is not readable by human, whereas plain text you can read it easily. So while transferring from your browser to the server, this ciphertext is sent to the server, and server decrypts it to get the plain text. So this is the way the security is maintained by using encryption. There are two methods or two types for encryption. One is symmetric and another is asymmetric. The digital signature and digital certificates are two more methods for security measures. Students, we have completed the chapter today, that is e-governance and e-commerce. In e-commerce, we have learned various models, and e-governance we have seen what are various types of e-governance. We have also learned digital signature and encryption and security measures today. We have concluded this chapter today. Thank you.